Everyone wants the harvest, but few are willing to plant the seed. We all want the reward. We all want the moment when it finally pays off. When the hard work is recognized, the dream becomes real, and the effort transforms into achievement. But life doesn't work like a wish list. It works like a field. You don't get to reap the harvest without first digging, planting, watering, waiting. You don't get to receive without first giving. And not just giving casually, but giving fully, intentionally, without guarantees. The universe doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards action. It responds to those who invest effort without needing immediate validation. You have to plant the seed first, with your time, your patience, your discipline. That's the price of greatness. That's the law of return. The seed always comes before the bloom. Think about nature. It teaches us everything if we're willing to look closely. A seed doesn't sprout the moment it's placed in the ground. It disappears beneath the soil, out of sight, silent, still. But that doesn't mean nothing's happening. In that hidden place, the seed is transforming, breaking apart, reaching downward to form roots, stretching upward toward the surface, 1 inch at a time. And that's where most people give up, because they want the flower now. But nature says, first you plant, then you wait, then you grow. Bleed first, receive later. The work must come before the reward. Before the athlete wins the medal, they've trained through countless mornings no one saw. Before the entrepreneur builds the business, they've faced rejection, setbacks, and doubts. Before the artist performs on the big stage, they've practiced in silence for years. There is always sacrifice before there is success. There's always discomfort before there is freedom. This is life's way of asking, how much do you really want it? Because if you only want it when it's easy, you won't last. If you only show up when applause is guaranteed, you won't grow. But if you're willing to show up when it's quiet, when no one is watching, when the results are still invisible, that's when life begins to respond. Lesson from the hunt. Even in the wild, the order is the same. The hunter doesn't eat because they want food. They eat because they work for it. They wake early. They track. They wait. They endure the struggle long before they earn the reward. There is no shortcut, no handout, just the rhythm of nature. Effort, patience, reward. And that's the rhythm you must align with. Work now, wait patiently, grow stronger, and then receive. Your life works the same way. Whatever you want, whether it's financial freedom, strong relationships, vibrant health, personal growth, you don't attract those things by chance. You earn them by who you become. By the effort you're willing to give even when the outcomes aren't certain. By the sacrifices you make while others choose comfort. Discipline now becomes momentum later. Focus now becomes freedom later. Patience now becomes abundance later. It's always bleed first, receive later. Why this matters? Because the world today tells you it should be fast, that success should be instant, that you should feel good all the time. But real fulfillment doesn't work like that. Real mastery comes from showing up day after day, especially when it's hard. You grow through the effort. You become stronger through the wait. You develop character through the sacrifice. And when the results come, because they will, they mean more because you've earned them. You've built the strength to sustain them. You've become the kind of person who doesn't just attract blessings, but knows how to carry them with purpose and grace. So what are you willing to give? That's the question that changes everything. Not what do you want, but what are you willing to give up for it? Are you willing to wake up early while others sleep? Are you willing to stay focused while others are distracted? Are you willing to push forward even when the results don't show up right away? Because those small daily choices, the sweat, the solitude, the setbacks, they all count. They all build the version of you that's strong enough to hold what you've been asking for. You don't need to suffer endlessly, but you do need to sacrifice. You need to lean into the challenge and find purpose in the process. And when the time is right, when the seed has rooted, when the hunt is over, you'll look back with gratitude, because you'll realize you didn't just receive, you became. You didn't just get the reward, you earned the right to keep it. So start now. Plant the seed. Trust the process. Honor the wait. Bleed first. Receive later. It's not just a principle. It's the path. Concept 1. Sacrifice always precedes success. No exceptions. No shortcuts. No way around it. Before you receive, you must give. Before the world hands you anything of value, it demands proof that you're ready to hold it. And that proof comes in the form of sacrifice. We live in a world that glorifies the reward, but downplays the process. It shows you the trophy, not the torn muscles. It flaunts the wealth, not the sleepless nights that built it. But success is never free. It requires a down payment made not in cash, but in time, energy, restraint, and discipline. Want a thriving body? You'll sacrifice comfort. Want financial freedom? You'll sacrifice distractions. Want peace of mind? You'll sacrifice toxic patterns and relationships. Want mastery? You'll sacrifice the illusion of overnight results. The truth is simple, but uncomfortable. You must become the kind of person who gives fully, before anything is guaranteed. Before applause, before validation, before you know if it will even work out. You must show up early, stay late, train when it's raining, practice when no one's watching, keep going when your efforts feel invisible. Because this is the test that separates the curious from the committed. Can you sacrifice now without a finish line in sight? If not, you're not ready. But if you can let go of comfort in exchange for growth, if you can trade what's easy for what's necessary, if you can bleed, sweat, and show up consistently, then the world takes notice. Not because you begged it to, but because you proved that you belong at the next level. Sacrifice is the signal. And once you send it, the universe starts responding, not to your desire, but to your demonstration. So remember this: sacrifice isn't the cost of success. It's the signal you're ready for it. Until you're willing to pay that price, the door stays shut. But once you are, you don't knock. You walk through. Concept 2. Nature honors process, not impatience. We live in a culture that worships speed. Next day delivery, instant notifications, shortcut formulas. But real growth, the kind that transforms your life from the inside out, doesn't care about your impatience. It follows a process, a sacred, unbreakable process, one you cannot skip. Look at nature. The seed is not in a rush to become a tree. It gets buried, completely hidden from sight. No light, no applause, no visible progress. But in that darkness, something powerful is happening. The shell breaks. The roots take hold. The foundation is laid far below the surface. Only after weeks, sometimes months, of invisible work does the first green sprout break through the ground. And even then, the world barely notices. But that's the way it's supposed to be. Nature understands what most people forget. True growth happens underground, in silence, in stillness, in process. If you interrupt that process too early, if you dig up the seed because you're tired of waiting, you kill what was trying to grow. And the same is true in your life, your business, your health, your mindset, your vision. They're all subject to the same natural law. You sow, you water, you wait, you grow. Then, and only then, do you reap. When you try to speed it up, you sabotage it. When you demand results before the work is complete, you forfeit the very strength that the process was meant to give you. Because what you build too fast, you lose just as fast. The seed doesn't complain about the dirt. The tree doesn't resent the wind. And the fruit doesn't ripen just because you're in a hurry. So why should your dream be any different? Your job is to trust the rhythm, to honor the order, to stop looking at the clock and start looking at your consistency. Because results don't come from panic. They come from patience, backed by persistent action. You don't plant today and harvest tomorrow. You plant, you tend, you endure. And if you honor the process, you will see the outcome, just not always on your timeline. So let the world chase quick fixes. Let others grow frustrated and quit halfway. You stay grounded. Because you know, what grows slowly, grows deeply. What grows deeply, lasts. And what lasts is worth every second of the wait. Honor the process, the universe does. Concept 3. You attract what you've built yourself to withstand. Here's a truth most people overlook. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared to handle. That's the deeper side of manifestation no one talks about. It's not about picturing your dream life once and hoping it shows up like magic. It's about becoming the version of yourself who can carry it, protect it, and multiply it without crumbling under the weight. Success has a weight. Freedom has responsibility. Leadership has pressure. Wealth has temptation. And love requires maturity, patience, and presence. Most people aren't denied their desires because they don't want them badly enough. They're denied because they haven't yet grown into someone who can sustain them. You say you want financial abundance, but can you manage what you already have? Can you delay gratification, avoid shortcuts, and stay disciplined when no one's watching? You say you want influence, but can you carry that without letting ego or insecurity drive your decisions? You say you want peace, but have you built the emotional strength to stay calm under chaos? Or are you still reactive to everything that doesn't go your way? You attract what you've proven you can handle. Not once, not on a good day, consistently. Because the universe isn't cruel. It's protective. It won't give you a platform that destroys you. It won't hand you power if you're still reckless with your potential. It won't multiply your impact if you still sabotage your mornings with excuses. The things you're chasing, they're not outside of your reach. They're just waiting on you to rise to their level. Every day, the way you think, the way you move, the way you respond to adversity, it's either training you to hold more or proving you're not ready yet. If you want more, build more capacity. Grow stronger boundaries. Sharpen your focus. Elevate your standards. Tighten your habits. And become someone who can stand tall under pressure without folding. Because the dream isn't the problem. Your readiness is. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about matching your internal world with the magnitude of the external life you claim to want. You want the next level? Then show the universe you can live at that level, long before it arrives. Act like it. Think like it. Move like it. Be so consistent that you become undeniable. Because when your character matches your vision, that's when the doors open. Not because you knocked louder, but because you became someone who was meant to walk through them. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you're ready for. So get ready. Concept 4. Consistent effort in silence builds real power. In a world obsessed with being seen, where everyone wants likes, recognition, and validation, this truth cuts through the noise. The real work that changes your life happens in silence. Not in the spotlight, not when people are cheering, but when it's just you, your vision, and the grind. It's easy to show up when everyone's watching, but the ones who rise, truly rise, are the ones who show up when no one is. Because it's in those quiet moments, when the world isn't paying attention, that your character is formed. That's when your habits are built. That's when your mindset gets forged into steel. You don't become strong when you're celebrated. You become strong when you keep moving forward without applause. You don't become wise when things are easy. You become wise by navigating challenges alone, learning from your own reflection, sharpening your instincts. You don't become disciplined from motivation. You become disciplined when you work through boredom, frustration, and fatigue. Because your purpose is bigger than your mood. This is the phase most people skip. They want the result, but not the silence. They crave the success, but not the stillness that precedes it. But here's the secret. The silence is not empty. It's where everything begins. Think of the gym when it's still dark out. Think of the artist sketching for hours before anyone sees a painting. Think of the business owner working weekends without pay, trusting that it'll all click one day. Think of the conversations you've had with yourself when doubt tried to whisper in your ear, and you chose to keep going anyway. That's power. Not loud, not flashy, but real. Consistency in silence is the ultimate sign of internal strength, because it means you're not just doing it for approval. You're doing it because you believe in what you're building, even when no one else sees it yet. It's not about overnight results. It's about long-term momentum. Every small action repeated daily becomes a force. Every quiet representative, every unread journal entry, every unseen effort, it compounds. And eventually, it breaks through. You start to become visible. You start to become undeniable. Not because you screamed your value, but because you embodied it. So don't chase quick fame. Chase quiet mastery. That's the kind that lasts. While others are performing, you're transforming. While others are complaining, you're creating. While others are stopping and starting based on emotions, you're building something that can't be shaken. When the time comes and the lights finally find you, you won't flinch. Because you'll know. You've already earned it in the dark. You became powerful long before the world noticed. That's the kind of power no one can take from you. And it all starts with showing up. Every day. In silence. With intention. That's the foundation. That's the path. Now keep building. Concept 5. Trust the law of return. Everything you put into the world, every effort, every disciplined action, Every sacrifice comes back. Not always in the form you expect, not always on your timeline, but return is inevitable when the work is real. This is one of the most overlooked truths in life. Nothing meaningful is ever wasted, but most people quit too soon. They plant a seed and walk away because they didn't see results in a week. They commit to a goal for a month, and when the rewards don't show up on schedule, they abandon the mission. But that's not how the law of return works. This law demands faith, not blind faith, but active faith. Faith backed by action. Faith fueled by the knowledge that results grow underground before they ever appear in your hands. Let's be clear. You don't rise just because you want to. You rise because you keep showing up, trusting that the energy you put out will find its way back. And when it does, it'll come bigger, better, and stronger than you imagined. If you didn't fold under pressure, you put in hard work now, the return might come in unexpected opportunities. You say no to temptation and stick to your principles. The return might come in clarity, peace, and long-term respect. You pour into others, even when you're tired. That return might come as deeper relationships and powerful allies. The mistake is believing that if you don't see the return immediately, it means you're off track. But sometimes, the delay is the test. Sometimes the universe is asking, can you be trusted to stay committed when nothing is happening? Because if you can stay faithful when there's no applause, no evidence, no confirmation that your sacrifices matter, then you're not just working for the reward. You're becoming someone who can multiply the reward once it arrives. The law of return rewards those who stay planted when they feel buried. Water their vision daily, even in drought. Continue sowing, even after temporary setbacks. Refuse to resent the process, because they understand the process is the proof. You don't get to choose when the return shows up, but you do get to decide how long you'll remain worthy of receiving it. That's the real power. When you finally look back, you'll see that none of your effort was wasted. Even the painful moments, even the seasons that felt silent and slow. It was all adding up. The early mornings, the hard decisions, the years of learning and adjusting. All of it was laying the foundation for the breakthrough. And when the return comes, it won't feel like a surprise. It'll feel like justice. Because deep down, you'll know. You didn't just wish for this. You worked for it. You waited for it. You honored the path. So trust it. Keep giving your best, even when nothing seems to change. Keep sowing in faith, knowing that every act of discipline is a seed. Every act of restraint is a root. And every day you choose growth over comfort, you're compounding your return. Because if you stay committed long enough, if you keep showing up when others quit, the law will honor you. What you give comes back, stronger, louder, bigger, brighter. Trust the law, trust the work, and trust yourself to keep going until the return is undeniable. Now you know the path. Not the easy one, not the glamorous one, but the real one. The one built on sacrifice, patience, transformation, quiet effort, and unwavering faith. You've seen the seed. You've watched it disappear into the earth. And now, you understand. That darkness wasn't death. It was the beginning. You've learned that life doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to what you're willing to give without promises. And in return, it shapes you into someone stronger, someone capable of earning what most only dream about. Because success isn't some distant fantasy. It's the echo of your daily decisions. It's the result of what you water in silence, what you refuse to quit on, and what you trust will grow, even before you see it. So bleed now, without bitterness. Wait now, without doubt. Grow now, without needing credit. Because in time, what you planted will rise, not as a fluke, not as luck, but as a reward for who you've become. Bleed first, receive later. It's not just a motto, it's a way of life. And those who live by it never leave empty-handed.